working in the spirit of the Golden Empire. This is a 17 News Break.
All right, we just dipped out just a few moments ago. We have our local health officials live now. Let's take you out to our County Board of Supervisors chambers to listen into our local health officials talk about the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County.
County Public Health. Hola, esta es Salud Pública del Condado de Kern y este mensaje se repetirá en español. We are informing you about COVID-19 testing sites available in your area. In order to protect the health of our families and to stop the spread, we are encouraging individuals to get tested for COVID-19. Individuals can show no symptoms and still spread the infection. Testing is free, no ID is required, and testing is done within minutes. Our locations have appropriate measures to ensure social distancing, proper sanitization practices, and staff is available to answer questions. We will be at Virginia Park at 2020 Virginia Avenue on October 20th between 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you have any questions, please call 211. Thank you and stay safe.
On Tuesday, October 13th, California Department of Public Health released guidance for safer Halloween and Dia de los Muertos celebrations during COVID. The guidance document outlines safer alternatives to the more traditional celebratory activities and personal protective measures that you should use regardless of how you choose to celebrate. These protective measures include wearing face coverings, practicing physical distancing, using good hygiene, including hand washing and sanitizing frequently touched items regularly, minimizing mixing between different households, and staying home if you are sick or in a group that is at higher risk for severe COVID illness. Additionally, on Tuesday, October 20th, Dr. Galley with the state announced changes to specific guidance documents and/or changes that are allowed within different tiers of the blueprint for a safer economy. The first of these changes was to professional sports, which are now allowed to have live audiences with restrictions within the orange and yellow tiers. Personal care services are now allowed indoors with restrictions in every tier. Previously, personal care services were not permitted indoor within the purple tier or tier 1, the most restrictive tier. Finally, there was new guidance released related to amusement parks and theme parks. These parks are not permitted to open in the purple and red tiers. In the orange tier, smaller parks can open with modifications, and in the yellow tier, larger parks can open with modifications. Furthermore, last night, the state added an FAQ on their website related to gatherings for musical, theatrical, and artistic performances. These are now allowed outdoors only in counties within the orange and yellow tiers, with restrictions, and must be pre-approved by the California Department of Public Health at least 2 days in advance of the event. As a community, we have made so much progress in reducing the transmission of this disease in Kern County. However, now more than ever is the time to remain diligent in our efforts, not only to continue the downward trend of disease transmission, but to get the rest of our businesses reopened and to keep them open moving forward. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Ryan.
Good morning, Ryan Alsop, Chief Administrative Officer for Kern County. As of today, here in our county, over 213,000 residents have been tested for COVID-19. Public Health, Ms. Kerrigan has announced 39 new cases, so that's including the 39 new, bringing the total number to 33,669 people. Unfortunately, to date, we've had 416 COVID-related deaths in Kern County. That number includes the one additional that Ms. Kerrigan announced this morning. And today we have 24 people isolated in the hospital or receiving some type of care for a COVID-19 infection. Of the 33,669 that have tested positive for COVID-19 to date, 33,229, or nearly 99% of those people have either fully recovered, are presumed recovered, or are isolated and recovering at home, treating their symptoms on their own. This is a statistic, again, that has been consistent for the last 6 months here in our county. A couple of comments on our Kern Recovers program. Financial assistance grants are available to nonprofit organizations throughout the county. That information, if you are a nonprofit, can be accessed at kerncounty.com. PPE distribution from the county continues. To small businesses, this program has distributed PPE, this is personal protective equipment, to 2,000 businesses across 70 industries, impacting nearly 50,000 employees of those small businesses. This is free PPE. Your business can go and get a 2-week supply. When you run out of that 2-week supply, you can go back and get another 2 weeks. This is free to you and available to all small businesses by going to kerncounty.com for more information, and we encourage you to do that. A couple of comments on the state. All 58 counties of the state are navigating their way through the governor's blueprint for a safer economy. This is this multicolored, multi-tiered system that allows for the, quote, slow, stringent, and staged, end quote, increase in operations for various industries, places of worship, et cetera, in our county. Specified Kern County businesses, places of worship, and other activities are currently allowed to operate indoors at limited capacity under strict state-issued protocols intended to keep transmission of the virus extremely low and keep employees and patrons alike safe. All of this guidance, as we have said on numerous occasions throughout these press conferences week to week, can be found at the state's website, covid19.ca.gov. Kern County, as Ms. Kerrigan pointed out, is in the red tier of this plan by the state. We anticipate being in this red tier next Tuesday when the state makes its once each week announcement on where counties sit in the metrics. They do this for all 58 counties once each week on Tuesday. We are currently anticipating next Tuesday will mark the end of the 2-week period for schools to reopen for in-classroom instruction here in Kern County. This includes our high schools. Reopening of schools for in-classroom instruction must be done following state-issued guidance and protocols for keeping school employees and especially our children as safe as possible, and especially and in a sustained and a practiced way, ensuring that we have extreme limited transmission to no transmission of the virus at our school sites. Schools that are planning to reopen next week on the 28th, and there are several of you, should all have planning in place, and that these plans are communicated and adhered to by your employees and students and parents. Communication of these plans must be done with rigor, and I know that those schools that are planning to reopen next week are doing just that, and they're doing a good job. Parents, when and how your child's school reopens is a determination made by the school's administration, and the district that's overseeing your schools, your elected school boards. This is not a county determination. Any questions concerning when and how your school is planning to reopen, when your kids can go back to in-classroom instruction, should be directed to the school administration and your local elected school boards. That all said, the county continues to focus its efforts on sustaining our position in the red tier while working to move into the orange tier, which is the next restrictive tier in the governor's blueprint for a safer economy. Our work, as Ms. Kerrigan pointed out, continues to be focused around increasing overall testing rates. Thank you. We are doing a good job. Those testing rates are increasing, and we're focused on getting overall testing positivity rates down, particularly in areas of our community where we are seeing uniquely high positivity rates. Ms. Kerrigan again talked a little bit about that. As always, we continue to thank all of you, all of the residents in Kern County, those partnering with us in this endeavor, for all the work that has been done and that you will continue to do in the days and weeks and months ahead to ensure that we remain on a forward trajectory through these tiers that the state has laid out for us to navigate. The state has moved other counties back in recent weeks to more restrictive tiers. There have been counties that have actually gone into the red tier that have been moved back into the the most restrictive tier, which is the purple tier, just in the last couple of weeks. We do not want that to happen here in Kern County. We need to remain vigilant. We must continue to make good public health choices as this virus, as we have said on numerous occasions, continues to be here in our community, and it will continue to spread. With that, we thank you all for, again, all of your participation and support, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ryan. As we do each week, we'll go down the list of outlets that we have on the line. I want to ask again that as we call your outlet, remember it is *6 to unmute. We'll pause for a second to make sure we give you time to come off of mute. We also ask that you ask one question on the initial request, and then we'll come back for follow-ups. This allows your other counterparts to get on to other stories that they may need to cover. So our first outlet that we have on the line is Valley Public Radio. I believe we have Carrie Klein.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I wanted to ask about schools. And so just to clarify a couple of things, at the very end, Mr. Alsop, you just said, you talked about the potential for retreating back into the purple tier. So just to clarify, does that mean, if that happens, does that mean that schools would need to close immediately in that case? And then the second part of that is, are you advising any caution on the parts of schools or school districts to maybe wait a while to see if you stay in the red tier, or are you kind of encouraging them to just really figure out their own schedule regardless?
Hi, Carrie. The answer, Matt discussed this at our last board meeting about how our public schools can now, they can tell us, notify us that they intend to open, and that decouples them from the tiered system, essentially, in some regards. I'll have Bryn get into that, but the short answer is no. If we go backwards, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to close.
Good morning, Carrie. So if a school reopens in the red tier and a county falls back to the more restrictive tier, or the purple tier, schools do not have to close. They are allowed to remain open even if the county falls back. The state has specific guidelines for schools to follow upon opening for in-person instruction, and those guidelines would be applicable regardless of the tier that we're in. They're designed that even if we're in widespread transmission, that those guidance documents will be helpful in reducing the amount of spread that is a potential to happen within a school.
Okay, and so that would mean then that you're not really advising any caution in any particular regard for schools, since they wouldn't immediately need to close if that were to happen.
Let me see if I can summarize that so we can respond appropriately, because that might be a little bit misleading. It sounds like you're suggesting that we're not advising schools to take any precautions because they're not held to that motion where we may have to move back.
No. Yeah, no, sorry. No, I just mean, well, I mean, I think the question is less applicable now, but it was that if schools had to close immediately once, retreating back into the purple tier, I was just wondering if the county was advising them caution on reopening so soon, not caution on the pandemic, but just like, hey, maybe you don't want to open so soon because this could happen at any time. But it sounds like that probably isn't happening, since schools wouldn't have to close immediately.
Correct. Sorry, I wanted to make sure we had that right. Okay. Thank you. And Carrie, if we get through this and it still isn't perfectly clear, let us know and we can come back at the end and clarify again.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Our next outlet is Channel 29. I believe we have Tim Johns on the line.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My question is actually in regard to the vaccine. I know a couple days ago, Governor Newsom came out and said that the state is going to form its own board to review any FDA-approved vaccine. I was wondering how our local officials feel about that. Is that something that you think could delay the vaccination process for millions of people in the state and thousands of people here in Kern County? How long is that going to take? I know you guys don't have a crystal ball, but is that something we would, I guess, push back on the local level? Because that could potentially delay further reopening, I would take it. How do you guys feel about that?
Thanks for the question, Tim. I think we're going to have Kim respond to at least part of that. I don't know that we can answer that fully because you're right. We don't have that crystal ball that you're mentioning, but let me have Kim respond first.
Thank you.
Hi, Tim. Good morning. It's a great question. There's a lot of unknowns right now with the COVID-19 vaccines that are in clinical trials and will hopefully be emergency use authorized quickly. We do know that the state has mentioned, like you said, that they plan to review the data that comes from the FDA. A part of this is part of their overarching statewide playbook, similar to the federal playbook, of what our plan is in California. Part of it is to review that data to make sure that the information makes sense, that it is safe for Californians, and that, that the state will before we get it out to our communities, that they're going to take an opportunity to make sure that everything is what we expect of vaccine, and we think that we anticipate they'll be doing this quickly. We do not want to delay getting a vaccine out to our community, to our highest risk populations, to our healthcare workers, so we expect that to be done very fast. But this is part of the reassurance to our communities, to everybody in the state of California, that our due diligence will be performed. We know that there's a lot of questions and concerns regarding it. There's a little bit of hesitation that we want to make sure we address, and we want to make sure that our state has looked through everything and is equally confident that this is safe and effective for our community before we start distributing it. So we expect it to go very quickly. We don't anticipate any delay in getting a vaccine out because we know that through that typical vaccine approval process, that data is reviewed and before we can actually get vaccine moving, and so that we expect that as soon as the information regarding the vaccine is available, the state of California will be reviewing it and making sure that everything falls in line with our expectations in California, and that as soon as vaccine is available to be distributed, it will start moving throughout the community.
Great. So it's fair to say that we then support the governor's decision.
Say that again, Tim. I'm sorry. I'm getting conflicting answers on that.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say,
so Ryan's
I hear her answer, and is it fair to say then that we support the governor's decision at this time?
Okay, I'm going to have Ryan respond.
Hi. We're not going to say whether we support it or not. If you're talking about his announcement specifically to create a task force to look at and review vaccines, I mean, that the state's calling the shots on all of this, and this is a one piece of that whole entire plan. So it is what it is. That's a decision that they made unilaterally. That's a state decision. That's their call. They didn't coordinate or ask our opinion about it. So it is what it is, and just like most of the other directives and goals and objectives, which have changed quite a bit in the last many weeks, we continue to adapt, work within them, and to prioritize where we need to move through these tiers and get our businesses and kids back into school.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Sorry about that one. Our next outlet is Channel 17. We don't appear to have any callers on the line. Just want to make sure that we're not missing you before we go on to the next outlet. Okay, Telemundo, I think we have either Norma or Jose or possibly both.
Hello, Jose Gaspar here.
Go ahead, Jose.
Yeah, okay, so as you guys are aware, this past Saturday was a massive, huge event in Delano. According to Delano Police Chief Roberto Nevares, there were at least 500 people at a massive dance. Nobody had any masks on. The police were even unaware this thing was going on. They only responded after a shooting broke out. But once they got there, they observed what was going on, and they said, hey, this isn't right, especially this time of COVID. So I understand they spoke to the owner or the person responsible. He claimed he didn't have any idea that this kind of event was not permitted. Take that for what you will. My question is, what, if anything, is Kern County Public Health going to be doing about these types of events that are being held not just in Delano, but from what I understand since we broke the story, that these are happening in Bakersfield and as well, where, and they're publicized well in advance. They're publicized on social media and that these things are going to be happening. Number one, are you guys aware that these things are happening? Number two, what, if anything, are you going to be doing about the situation in Delano?
Thanks for the question, Jose. We'll have Bryn Kerrigan respond.
Good morning, Jose. We were not aware of the event in Delano until after the fact. We have since made contact with both the event organizer and the property owner to inform them that their event did violate the governor's orders. I would say for the most part, many agencies and organizers of events have been very diligent in trying to abide by the governor's orders. They oftentimes make contact with Kern County Public Health in advance, and we help them navigate those guidance documents and any other orders that the governor has out so that their event or their operation does go off in compliance with those guidance documents and the orders of the governor. If we do find out of events that do not comply with the governor's orders, we do make contact with them after the fact. We inform them that their event did violate the state's orders and their guidance documents, and if they're egregious enough, such as the event in Delano, then we would refer them to the state strike team for further action.
So you're referring everything to the state with these kinds of actions. Is that correct? You guys aren't yourselves, you're not going to be doing anything about it?
Hang on.
As I mentioned earlier, we did already make contact with both the event organizer and the property owner. We had these conversations with them that their event did violate the state orders. We've sent them letters as well, and we can refer them to the state strike team, and in an event such as this, we will do so.
Can you refer this type of an incident to the district attorney's office?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Can you refer this type of event, this type of violation, to the Kern County District Attorney's Office?
It's a state order, so the proper chain would be to notify the state strike team.
Alrighty. Now, with your Latino COVID-19 team, is this something that you will hopefully look into instead of just, reminding people to get tested and so forth and so on? Will you ask or work with the Latino COVID-19 team to be more diligent in reaching out to these business owners who are holding these large events and telling them, hey, you cannot be doing this. We know you want to make money, but public health is more important. Will you be doing any of that proactive, not reactive, but proactive measures before these things are held?
Thank you, Jose. We'll have Bryn respond.
Hi, Jose. We have been trying to be very proactive in our education and awareness, and that is something that we're trying to further with our efforts in these lowest quartiles by working with different partners like the Latino Task Force to alter our messages into languages other than English and traditional Spanish so that we're reaching those individuals that we may not currently be reaching, and then also targeting messaging to talk about the importance of not mixing with others and distancing and not having these large gatherings, just really discussing how risky events like that are for the transmission of COVID-19.
Do you think it's time to address the commercial people,
Jose,
people holding these types of events, the businesses? It's time to address them directly.
Jose, I'm going to stop you there. We asked that each reporter ask one initial question, and we've gone over a few, so I want to make sure we get to the other reporters on the line. And then when we go back to follow-ups, we'll be sure to come back to some of your questions. Thank you. Our next outlet is the Bakersfield Californian. Is Sam Morgan on the line?
Hey, Megan. I don't really have a question today, but thank you.
Okay. Our next outlet is Channel 23. I believe we have Austin on the line. Any questions?
Hi there, guys. The Safe Halloween event at the Kern County Museum has been canceled, and we were told by the museum that they did not get approval from Public Health, and that's why it was canceled. Did the museum reach out for permission for that event? And for anyone that wants to hold a holiday event in the future, what should they keep in mind if they want to plan in accordance with health guidelines?
So, Austin, we're getting some information for the latter half of your question, and Bryn is going to answer that. So give us just a second. Do you have any other questions before we jump to that one?
We were also wondering, why haven't the death demographics on the COVID-19 dashboard been updated since October 1st? And we were wondering if there was any plans to update that.
Okay. Yeah, so you're looking for an update on the death data on the dashboard, is that correct?
That's correct. On the dashboard it says last updated on 10/1/2020.
Okay, we'll have Bryn respond to your questions.
Thank you.
Good morning. So specifically related to your first question about the Kern County Museum Safe Halloween event, oftentimes these events take multiple months to plan, and unfortunately the state didn't issue their Halloween guidance until October 13th. So that left a very narrow window for agencies such as the Kern County Museum to do a Halloween effort that is safe and in compliance with guidance given by the state. There was guidance issued on October 13th, and they list out a number of safer alternatives to Halloween celebrations. Traditional trick-or-treating is considered a more risky activity, but within that guidance document, they also list out a lot of personal protective measures that individuals could take no matter how they're celebrating Halloween, so that they're less likely to transmit COVID-19 to other individuals. That guidance document is available on our website and the state's website, so I encourage you to go and review that document. As far as the death data, when we announced that death data, we indicated that there is this model that we're following to be able to release this information, and there has to be several parameters that are sort of reviewed and analyzed before we can release this updated information. We have to meet a certain threshold in a number of categories, and we have not met that threshold yet. We continue to analyze that, and as we see less and less deaths occurring, which is what we're aiming for, the updates to that death data are going to become less and less frequent, so that's just something to consider.
Thanks, Bryn.
Okay, our next outlet is the Mojave Desert News. I believe we have Jack on the line. Any questions? Okay, we'll go back up to the top and just make sure that you don't have any follow-up questions. Valley Public Radio. Channel 29. Channel 17. Telemundo. Baker.
You guys can hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, so my follow-up question, Jose Gaspar here at Telemundo one more time, is when you see these social media posts announcing these big events, massive events in Bakersfield, in Delano, wherever they're happening, what, if anything, can you proactively do to make sure they don't happen?
Thanks for the question, Jose. We'll have Bryn respond.
Hi, Jose. If these social media posts are brought to our attention prior to the event occurring, we absolutely make every effort to reach the organizer and the property owner to try to assist them, to assist their gathering if it can still occur under the state's guidance and orders, to help them navigate that so that it is compliant, or we inform them that if they continue to hold an event that they are advertising on their social media page, that it does violate the governor's order. So we do try to reach out, and in fact, every time an event is brought to our attention prior to the event occurring, we do make every attempt to reach out to them, but they're not always brought to our attention prior to the event occurring.
And generally, how egregious would you say the event in Delano was, where more than 500 people showed up at this massive event?
Your question was how egregious do we define that event? Did I hear that right? I'm sorry. Was it?
Yes, that is correct. Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have Ryan respond.
Hi, Mr. Gaspar. I'm going to try to answer your question. We can't be everywhere all the time, and I know you know that. You bring up a very good example of a situation, an event that can certainly be a catalyst to spreading the virus. We have said all along, every single week, we've been at this a very, very long time, talking about all the best practices, what to do, what not to do. We are stretched thin in dealing with this virus across a slew of different areas, from testing to tracing to containment to monitoring. Everything that we're having to do, our staff is stressed, and we're doing the best that we can. As Ms. Kerrigan pointed out, yes, that is an event that we do not condone. We do not. We should not tolerate. And we make every effort, if we have advanced warning, to reach out to the individual or individuals who are sponsoring it, who are promoting it, to tell them that to not have it, to explain the risks, to talk about the state orders. We would refer that particular event to the state strike team, who is in charge. The state is calling the shots and has set and laid down directives for all counties to follow throughout the state. So we do the very best that we can, as proactively as we can, if we're in the know, to reach out and to make sure that these things are headed off at the pass. Obviously, if we're not able to and they happen, we're concerned about it. We're making sure that there's follow-up, and we're making sure that those folks know that that's not allowed and that's discouraged. They should not be doing it, all the risks associated. We're doing really the very best that we can. We've been at this a long time. We're on the phone with people. We have letters off to people. We have emails off to people. We visit people. Overall, our community is doing a fantastic job. Overall, our businesses, our residents, but there are episodes that happen, as is the case in every single county and all across the country, where you have events like this, and we're doing the best that we can to keep up. So I hope that's all of these answers, and that answer provides you some specific information on how we're handling this and how we view it.
All right, I appreciate it, Mr. Officer.
The other thing that we just want to make sure that all of our residents know is that if you have questions, if you are hosting or you have questions about the guidance that may or may not apply to you, you can always call our COVID-19 hotline. That's staffed by our public health team, and they do everything in their power to help you understand the guidance that applies to you, your business, your event, whatever it may be. And that number is 661-321-3000, and we would encourage you to call that. We'll keep going down the list. Bakersfield, California, any follow-up questions? Channel 23. Mojave Desert News. Okay, with that will conclude our briefing for today, and we thank you for attending.
And you've just been listening to our county public health officials and leaders talk a little bit about the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County and the state, and just giving you an update on several aspects of that, including where we stand. We are continuing to be in the red tier, and it looks like we will go into the red tier or stay in the red tier next week as well, which of course is good news. That will allow schools to reopen because we have been in that for an additional week. We'll have more on this coming up today on 17 News at noon, as well as tonight on 17 News at 5. As always, you can go to our website, kget.com, for the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. For now, I'm Alex Fisher in the 17 studios.